Hi everyone. I apologize for not getting this video up last night. I didn't have my computer at home. So anyways, I wanted to talk you guys through how I changed the activity. First of all, those of you who are kind of not sure of what happened in the conversation, a couple students reached out to me wearing confused in the vignette assignment for social studies, and I rewrote the assignment. If you already started the other one, you are more than welcome to turn in the other one. If you started the other one and it's not available, but you understood it and you want to do the other one, I can reopen it for you. Whatever works best. So there's two assignments right now that are titled Appropriate Social Studies Topics. This is the corrected one. I really want to make sure that the assignments that I give you are not confusing, and I apologize for everyone's confusion. I think there's some confusion because social studies is such a broad topic. Really, anything that relates to the child is considered social studies. So if you're writing your learning experience plan, you could do topics. So if you wanted to do like the discussion board that I graded last night. So if you're talking about economics, money is something that if you did it, somebody suggested doing etchings of money, so putting paper on top of it and rubbing it over. If you're just talking about how they look different, totally appropriate. Probably not the fact that you use money, because that would be it's symbols, that would be hard to understand. So like economics is that. You could do politics or political science, and you could have them vote. Voting for something about snack. Do you want pears for snack or do you want apples for snack? That would be considered political science for a 3-year-old. You could talk about outdoors. You could talk about the weather. What is the weather outside today? You could do pictures of if it snows, snowstorms. You could do an activity based on community helpers. Firefighters, or the grocery store down the street if you live in the city and the children can walk to the grocery store. Completely fine. Those are great social studies topics. You could talk about animals that are around the school, bugs that they find. All of those relate to children. So social studies is a study of the child and what's around the child, and that's what I'm trying to illustrate to you. But there's a very broad range of social studies activities. If you want to think of one, because I understand it's abstract, and you want to run it by me, just email me and I can say, hey, yeah, that's great, or let's simplify it a little bit more. But think of a social studies topic, think of something that, go back to that discussion board, see what your peers wrote, and then pick a topic that's similar. Just remember that when you're talking about a historical figure, Christopher Columbus, children don't understand that he lived years and years ago. The people that they lived years and years ago that they understand, historical, would be their grandparents. So it's concrete. Make sure that it's concrete. It relates to the child. The child can actually see it. It's not a symbol. Concrete things that relate to a child. So anyways, if you have any questions about that, please let me know. There is a video that explains how to do the learning experience plan. I suggest you give it a shot and we can go from there. So the assignment that I changed. So here is the new assignment, and I'd like to look through it with you. Hang on a second. Let me be posting it. Let me make sure it's posted. So here is the new assignment. Let's take a look at it together. So what I wanted you to think about is I wanted you to be able to picture a child and find some topics that would relate to the child. You could talk about apartments, or something about outdoors if they live in the city, or you could talk about pastures and farms and things if you were talking about children live in the country. You would want to be super sensitive with families if you have families with different family configuration, but I just wanted you to look at that and it was too confusing. So what I did is I put a group of children. There are 3 to 5-year-old children at ABC Childcare. Out of the 12 children in the class, 6 of the children are from single-parent families. 1 child is living with grandparents, and the other 3 are from a nuclear family with mother and father. All of the children receive Wisconsin Shares, which is supplemental money to pay for childcare. Because of the location, many of the children live in apartments and multiple family dwellings. The school is located in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, not far away from the lake. There's a grocery store and fire station within walking distance. So what I want you to do is just kind of think about that group of children and things that would relate to them and things that wouldn't relate to them. And then I said, consider this group of children. Think about what we have learned about social studies. Remember the bullseye. So the children are still pretty close to pretty egocentric. They're not completely. They start understanding communities and families and things like that, but not much farther out than that. Brainstorm 10 topics that you could talk about with this group of children. I described the group of children so you would know what not to do. So if you are talking about children who are receiving Wisconsin Shares, the chances of them going on a Caribbean vacation aren't high. Not that they don't or can't or anything, but you wouldn't want to introduce something like the ocean to children who might never have seen the ocean. Instead, you're in Milwaukee, you're right by the lake. It would be a fantastic thing to do instead. So I just want you to consider things that would relate to the children and things that they would not get because they're not concrete. All right, but at the same time, there's some things you do not want to do. Explain that. So just think of 10 things you could do with this group of children. And in the vignette, I didn't say, so like bugs. Okay, so bugs that are found in Wisconsin. You're not going to want to do bugs that are like hissing cockroaches because they're not found in Wisconsin, but certainly you could do a bug activity. Children, whether they live in the city or live in the country or are from huge estates or from apartments, it doesn't matter. All children have seen bugs. So, or you could do something on a holiday that's coming up. You could do something on grandparents. So anyways, topics you can brainstorm. Pretty much anything that relates to the child would be appropriate. Okay, so I know it's abstract, but that's why I'm kind of doing is to give topics. And then what I plan on doing is listing all the topics that everybody said so that you can see topics, so that when you go to write your learning experience plan, you've thought about different things that are social studies. If you are wrong about them, what matters is that you're brainstorming. So be wrong. That's okay. Now's the time to figure out what is appropriate, what isn't appropriate when it comes to social studies. Taking into consideration your reading. In your reading, it explained what social studies is. So there's some great material on it. After you're finished with that, I would like you to think about, so when you think about a family tree, think about what you probably did in elementary school. And that's a picture of you, and then a picture of your mom and your dad and your brothers and your sisters and grandparents, and very scripted. We know that children don't all come from families that all look alike, and we want all children to feel included and not compare themselves. So if you do something like that there's a tree and then there's a place for the mother and the father, that's not including everybody in that. That would make some children feel different because their family's different. And what we want children to do is feel like every family, whoever loves them is what matters, not who they are or their role. So I would like you to think about how you could do a family activity without making it a scripted family tree. So I just wanted you to give some thought to that. And that is all you need to do for that assignment. If you have any problems with this, let me know. I'm hoping you just take a shot at it, and we can you can take a look at what everybody else thinks social studies would be for that group of children. Just remember that vignette is only to explain what the children are experiencing, so that if you did choose something like a family tree, that you would know. So then I would say, hey, would that really be okay if you have this, if this is the scenario with the children? So take it into consideration. But it doesn't, just because I wrote that doesn't mean that if I didn't mention the fact that there's not only a grocery store and a fire station, but in the city there's also parks. If you did an activity about parks, all children go to parks, absolutely. Okay, so I think that should help. If not, let me know. I can help you out. Remember to read the chapter. That will help you in figuring out the social studies. Don't be thrown by the vignettes. It's just to give you information about the children. Thanks everyone for your thoughtful work on the discussion boards. I really enjoyed reading them, and I'll be finishing, getting caught up on grading. Each discussion board takes about an hour to grade, so I'll keep working on them this weekend, and then I will be up at where you are by Sunday. Talk to you soon. Bye.